Whether you see them or not, people are suffering in the shadows. They are dying in the dark, and they need more than compassion. Ladies and gentlemen, we must invest today to save tomorrow.
At COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan's Environment Minister Mukhtar Babayev emphasized the critical role of private sector financing in combating climate change. Writing in The Guardian, Babayev urged businesses to step up for funding for low-carbon initiatives in developing nations, warning of severe climate consequences if they do not. Without the private sector, there is no climate solution. The world needs more funds and it needs them faster, he wrote, noting that mobilizing private finance has been a long-standing goal of climate talks. COP29's ambitious goals overshadowed by US withdrawal. The COP29 summit, attended by leaders from nearly 200 nations, faced challenges due to the recent re-election of Donald Trump, who has pledged to exit the Paris Agreement. Trump's policy shift is expected to make climate finance targets harder to reach, particularly the proposed $1 trillion annual goal by 2035. This is especially concerning for developing nations which need increased financial support to mitigate emissions and adapt to extreme weather. Controversy over private sector's role. As countries seek new financial frameworks, many are turning to the private sector to bridge funding gaps. However, reliance on private financing is controversial. Civil society groups, including Christian Aid, argue that private funds typically provided as loans may drive poor countries further into debt. Government finance is better suited for the climate crisis as it can be provided as grants, while private finance as profit-driven, said Mariana Pauli, Christian Aid's global advocacy lead. Some developing nations acknowledge that private finance is necessary but insist on clear accountability. The Alliance of Small Island States highlighted that public financing should remain the primary focus, with private funding serving as additional support. UN Climate Chief Simon Stiell also highlighted the economic repercussions of climate inaction. He warned that continued reliance on fossil fuels could drive inflation, damaging supply chains and destabilizing economies worldwide. Stiell reinforced the message that climate finance is a global necessity, not a charitable act, and called for an ambitious climate finance goal that aligns with the self-interest of all nations.
We must agree a new global climate finance goal. If at least 2/3 of the world's nations cannot afford to cut emissions quickly, then every nation pays a brutal price. If nations can't build resilience into supply chains, the entire global economy will be brought to its knees. No country is immune. So let's dispense with the idea that climate finance is charity. An ambitious new climate finance goal is entirely in the self-interest of every single nation, including the largest and the wealthiest. But it's not enough to just agree on a goal. We must work harder to reform the global financial system, giving countries the fiscal space they so desperately need.